2004 Oldsmobile Alero 2.2 liter engine, close to 200,000 miles. This car had a crank no start condition. Lady got in the car first thing in the morning. Engine was cranking but would not start. I asked them to have someone with the rubber mallet to hit the fuel tank. Somebody's cranking, thinking it may be a bad fuel pump. That didn't help any. And then I got to their house a couple days ago, actually, yeah, 2 days ago. And I did a whole bunch of tests on it. The first thing what I did, I checked the fuel pressure, put my gauge in a Schrader valve. There's a 60 psi pressure. I also asked him to spray some fuel into the intake and see if the car is going to attempt to start, and it did. And when I got there, I checked my ignition. So ignition was okay. So by adding some fuel in it, of course, you know, cam and crank should be okay. The sensor should be okay, because it would run for maybe 5-6 seconds and it would stall. But it's still, I verify my cam. There's a signal from the camshaft sensor, and there's a crank right down there. Everything was fine, but I was missing. So the ignition system was working, but I was missing a pulse on my injectors completely. All four of them did not have any pulse from the power control module. I did have a power, but not the control. The codes didn't help much at all. I think it was some code for like a map sensor, so I did unplug the map sensor, even though I knew it's not going to help any, because if the map sensor is skewed or mass airflow sensor is skewed, it would mess up the injector pulse, but it would not completely shut down injectors. And so anyhow, I sprayed some fuel, it would run and it would stall. So I told him, I said, well, you know, this kind of odd. I was thinking later on, maybe I'm having an issue with a maybe throttle position sensor where it was stuck at 5 volts. Maybe it was a clear flood mode. Even some of the many Chevys don't have a flood mode, so that was not, you know, the reason why I was not starting. And of course, having no injector pulse, I was thinking maybe something with the security system. This is just regular key. They always use the same key, nothing to it. And so I told them, okay, you know what, I just can't spend any more time. I just saw it to my house, and sure they did. Yesterday afternoon, I got in the car to push in the garage, and boom, start right up. And said, well, that sucks. I kind of lost my opportunity to do some more checks. And I told the guy, I said, my suspect is still a power control module. At the time when at his house, I checked all the fuses from this fuse box and one in the rear, you know, in the cabin. That was okay. But now I quickly rule out a power feed issue, because, you know, if the fuse is blown, I have some, you know, open circuit or something like that, it would not get better. It would not start again. That would not help any. So anyhow, my next test was to I didn't even get to the power control module yet. I got to my diagram, and I'm checking a ground to a power control module, and there's actually ground is here, right on the transmission, and there's some kind of splice, and there are two wires here. One, this is a black and white. It goes to a PCM, and the other one I'm not sure where it goes to, but let's see if the car is going to start. Okay, it starts right up. 40 millivolts of voltage drop. Now let's go ahead and wiggle this splice a little bit. There's a wire that's loose inside this splice here, and let me just pull this back a little bit. So I pull the wire back out of that splice. It does. But all I do, I just pull this back a little bit, Now when you move the electrical, they will not act up anymore, but this was a problem for sure. I was able to duplicate at least once, but I'm gonna take this apart and see what happens. So I got a splice removed from the ground post. And this is the only ground on this PCM, kind of weird, but that's the only ground point. So let's try cranking now. Okay. But most likely I did not completely lose the ground. The fact that I could, that I had ignition pack was firing, the computer was sending the signal to the ignition. It was still alive, but just didn't have a, you know, power to, and it didn't have a good ground to ground down the control injectors. I'm gonna get this open and see what happens. And this looks okay. It's like a comb that basically shorts these ground wires. I don't see anything there, but this is the main ground, and I can see right here a little bit of damage on the wire. Not much, but right there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to eliminate this splice, put the eyelets on it, bolt it down to the block, and get it done. I'm done, so eliminate the splice, and I put all three of these ground wires into one eyelet and bolted back to the ground stud, and cleaned it up a little bit. There was a little bit of a corrosion on the stud itself, so, and this should take care of it. Okay, let's start it up. Okay, runs good. I'm confident this was the problem. I'm not gonna pursue anything else. My wiggle test proved that the bad ground was an issue, and of course the day before I had did not have a ignition, injector pulse was missing from the computer, and they towed the car started right up. Something had moved, something had switched, and sure enough these grounds can do that. Now I'm not sure if this is the common problem on these cars or not. I know there are some of the cars with this 2.2 liter engine. I would say they all have the same ground post, and if you guys have an issue with it, check if you have a crank no start and intermittent, and definitely check this ground point. Alright guys, thank you so much. See you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.